Is March 6, 2025. The time is 8 a.m. This is the zoning violation hearing on zoning violation citation PZC 240072, County of Coconino versus DeWoody. The hearing is taking place by Zoom, phone, and at Thomas Auditorium. Mr. Stento is appearing in person at Thomas Auditorium. Mr. DeWoody is appearing by phone, and I am appearing by video conference Teams. The hearing is being held pursuant to County Zoning Ordinance 5.14. I have received the county's exhibits 1A through L, 2A through G, 3, 4, and 5. I'm not in receipt of a witness list, so therefore I assume that only Mr. Stento will be testifying for the county. I have not received any exhibits or witness lists from the respondent, Mr. DeWoody, and therefore at my discretion, any exhibits or testimony of witnesses other than Mr. DeWoody may not be admitted or considered. Am I correct that a admission of responsibility or denial of responsibility form has not been returned?
That is correct. We have not received a return completed admission or denial of responsibility.
Okay. Mr. DeWoody, can you hear me? Yes.
I can hear you.
Thank you. Did you receive a copy of a document that was captioned zoning violation citation?
I did receive it, but unfortunately, I know this sounds weird, but my dogs got a hold of my mail and they tore it up. So I wasn't able to respond.
Okay. The dogs ate your homework, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And I know that sounds weird, but that's exactly what happened.
Okay. I know some documents were left with someone named Dana at the property. Who is Dana?
That's my partner.
Okay. So before your dogs got their mouths on it, were you able to view the documents?
I kind of went over it a little bit, yeah.
Okay, so you saw the citation, and then you saw the document called Notice to Appear that told you about today's hearing, right?
Yeah, yes, correct.
Okay.
That's why I know about this.
Okay, and then there was another document in there called Admission or Denial of Responsibility. Do you remember seeing that?
I do remember seeing that.
Okay, so normally what is supposed to happen is you're supposed to fill that out and return it to tell the county whether you admit to the violations or whether you deny the violations. I know that you haven't returned it, but did you get a chance to fill it out before your dogs got it?
I did, and being that I work a lot, I've been so busy that, yeah, I wasn't able to get it into the mail.
Okay. When you filled it out, did you check the box for admit responsibility or deny responsibility?
No, it was deny.
Deny. Okay. So you take the position that that you're not responsible for the zoning violations that the county is accusing you of.
I mean, I'm probably confused on the whole, like.
Okay. Well, let me take a minute and just kind of explain it to you, okay?
Okay.
And if there's any part of it that you don't understand or you don't hear me clearly on, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so one of the documents you got was the citation itself. You know, it's as if you're getting a traffic citation or a notice from the government saying that you're in violation of the zoning ordinance. And the violations, there are two main violations. One is that you have RVs or travel trailers out there on the property that you're using as dwellings or accessory structures. That's number one. And then the second one is that you've got a bunch of secondhand materials and inoperable vehicles and garbage, refuse just being stored out there and not being screened off. And that's a violation of the zoning ordinance. So that's the accusations. They're accusing you of those two violations. Do you understand that?
No, yeah, I understand.
Okay. So then they also send you a form where you either admit, yep, you're right, government, I'm in violation of those zoning ordinances, or you say, no, I deny those accusations. If you admit it, then you're found to be responsible. But the county waives an initial penalty of $100. Okay. You also
Okay.
waive your opportunity to have a hearing today. So if you admit the violation, then basically you're saying, yep, I admit that I'm violating those zoning ordinances. I'm going to have to clean it up, and I'm going to have to face the consequences for it, which could be money. But in exchange for that, the county waives the first $100 penalty. Okay, so that's if you admit it. But then you also have the right to deny the allegations. And if you deny it, then you have the opportunity for this hearing today where you can try, make your case, give me your side of the story, and then I decide whether you're responsible or not. So do you understand your two choices there?
Yes, yeah, I understand.
Okay, so given that, what do you want to do? Do you want to admit responsibility or do you want to deny responsibility?
I admit responsibility.
Okay. So just to be clear, if you admit responsibility, then I'm required by the zoning ordinance to say, yep, okay, Mr. DeWoody admits responsibility and he is responsible for those zoning violations. And then I'm going to ask Mr. Stento what he wants to do about it. Okay.
I mean, I have made a lot of progress. Those pictures or exhibits are old pictures, and some of those aren't even of my property.
Okay.
I mean, I have been working really hard to correct these violations.
Okay.
It's just, I work a full-time job and I'm the only one here to take care of things. I got elderly people that are handicapped that I take care of as well. And so, yeah, it's been
Okay,
slow going, but
I hear you. Mr. Stento, when was the last time you were out there?
Last time we performed a site visit was 2 days ago, Tuesday, 4 March.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
Well, why don't, Mr. Stento, why don't I put you under oath? Tell me what you've seen on your most recent site visit, because I think the photos I have, the most recent ones are from early February. And then tell me what you're seeking.
Okay.
So if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony today?
I do.
Okay. Why don't you dive in? We'll skip an opening statement for today's purposes, Mr. Stento. Just tell me what you're seeing and what you want to have done.
Our 4 March photos, and Mr. DeWoody hasn't seen this because when we mailed him our exhibits, obviously we do not include exhibit 6A, which I'll be referring to now. This is a picture from the entry to the property. Now, it doesn't provide the detailed view of the photos that were taken in February. In January, we walked through the property, but from the distance of at the entry to the property, you can still see the 3 occupied RVs. You can still see a substantial amount of refuse, secondhand materials, construction materials, etc. All easily discernible from approximately, I'd say that picture was about 100 yards from the dwellings themselves, the materials themselves. Enough in the county's eyes to confirm no substantive abatement. Now, that does not mean Mr. DeWitty has been making effort, but the violations are certainly still in place. Would you like further explanation, or can I consider our relief now?
Do I have, were you referring to an exhibit 6A?
Yes, and you know what, Howard, I was going to display that on my screen actually and share it. I realized I did not probably send that to you yet. Let me share that with you real quick so you can see our 4 March visit. Give me just one moment.
Sure. So Mr. DeWitty, you're unable to see this, but Mr. Stento is sharing his screen. He's showing some additional photos. Can you make that a little larger, Mr. Stento?
Absolutely.
He's showing some photos that, did you take these photos, Mr. Stento?
Our code enforcement officer, John Cole, took the photos.
Okay, and Mr. DeWitty, these are photos taken by the county on March 4th, showing the property. I see, looks like 3 recreational vehicles. I see a white truck with its hood up. I see a dumpster. Looks like maybe a waste management dumpster. Okay. See a fenced area kind of to the right of the picture.
We'd like to know refuse in this area as well. It's a little bit hard to see in this photo here. We have secondhand materials, construction materials. This fence type structure and the items surrounding it were viewable in our February exhibits, which Mr. DeWitty was in receipt of. And those are exhibits 2C, 2D, 2E as in echo, 2F as in foxtrot, and 2G as in golf. Those videos were taken standing approximately right here. Now, certainly, it is conceivable, as I noted before, that as Mr. DeWitty noted, some minor cleanup has occurred. As we can see, the 8-foot fencing area, the tires in front of it, the a lot of the wood waste that was used to construct this, and the 3 RVs that we confirm were occupied are all still present.
Okay. How do you know they were occupied?
We confirmed they were occupied when we performed a site visit on, I believe it was, I need to refer to my notes here. In our late January site visit, when we served Dana the citation notice to appear and notice of hearing, you refer to my affidavit. That was on 22 January. We witnessed an individual walk out of this RV, which we had also documented people in on previous site visits. An elderly woman was occupying another RV we spoke to after we knocked on the walls of the RV, and Dana exited out of the center RV right here.
Okay. And Mr. Stento, when you were out there a couple of days ago, you may have already said this. Did you notice some improvement, some abatement?
Because of the threat of the dogs, we didn't move deeply onto the property. So as I noted, the pictures indicate no substantive abatement. We still see most of the stuff that was visible, and we can reference that to a previous photo. Now, again, that's not to deny Mr. DeWitty's claim that some progress has occurred, but if we refer to exhibit 1K, 1 kilo, we can see a very similar view from July of 2024, when the property was of course still quite distressed. And note that it looks very similar from that perspective that far out. There were many photos taken after that, that's deeper onto the property, of course, that are detailed and exhibits 2C, 2D, 2E, 2G, or F and 2G. But the view from where the photo on the 4th was taken remains consistent with photography. I'm sorry, Mr. Brown.
That's okay. So comparing 6A to 1K, for example,
Yes,
are those taken from about the same spot?
approximately, yes. Give or
Okay.
take a few yards.
So like in 1K, there's a dark colored SUV with the back window busted out. Was that still present?
Refer to the photo to see.
1K.
It does not appear to be present.
And I'm looking at still in 1K, sort of behind that dark colored SUV, there was looks like an RV facing towards the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I look at 6A, there's an RV facing to the left. Is that like a different, it almost looks like a different RV.
And I can't confirm or deny that. It may have just shifted position.
Okay. And 6A, there's a white truck with the hood, looks like the hood up. I don't see that in 1K, but I do see what looks like a white Volvo in 1K, kind of in the same spot.
That's right.
Okay. 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 Mr. Stento, anything else?
No, unless you would again like me to review the county's relief request.
Yeah, before we do that, Mr. DeWoody, you're still there?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
Okay. And you heard what Mr. Stento was testifying about?
Yeah, I have a couple comments about the exhibits, but
Okay. And so Mr. Stento is basically saying, he went out a couple days. Did you go out, Mr. Stento, or was it just Mr. Cole?
It was just Mr. Cole.
Okay. So compliance officer went out yesterday or 2 days ago and saw and took pictures of the property, and there have been some changes, but essentially the violations are still present. So the inoperable vehicles, the RVs being used, the refuse are still there. And they don't deny that you've made some cleanup efforts, but that the violations still exist. So let me put you under oath, Mr. DeWoody, and hear what you have to say, okay?
yes, sir.
So I'm just going to trust that you're raising your right hand, and I'm going to ask you is the testimony that you are about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, tell me what your thoughts are and what your comments are on what Mr. Stento just said.
Okay. To begin, I just wanted to say that I wish that he was able to because I was here 2 days ago cleaning up the property. I've been for the last couple of weeks doing what along with everything else going on, I have other issues with neighbors and stuff that are a different matter. But anyways, Exhibit 2F and on 1K, that dark colored vehicle wasn't even on my property. It's not my property, and Exhibit 2F is not my property. Those are trailers that are not on my properties.
Okay.
And that one trailer. Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
That trailer that's in front of the black dark SUV in Exhibit 1K has been removed a long time ago. The white Volvo was moved and gone. My truck with the hood up, that is an operable vehicle, just has the hood up because of the mice problem, so they don't chew on wires and they don't make nests in the hood, underneath the hood. And due to the refuse and stuff, that if he's saying 2 days ago, that has probably been remedied by now. I have been working on putting up a somewhat temporary fence till I can get around making it look better. I mean, if he wants to come out again, I'd be happy to meet him and walk the property. You know, I've been working really hard on trying to remedy this. I'm not a person that wants to be in violation. You know, I collect materials because materials are expensive. I get them from my job, you know, job sites that I work on. And yeah, I should do better at containing them.
So, Mr. DeWoody, just to clarify, you're saying that in 2F, 2 Frank, that
Right.
that RV is not on your property?
It is not my property. Correct.
Mr. Brown, I can provide some context using the submitted exhibits. If you would like me to explain some of those photos and provide some background on what Mr. DeWoody is referencing.
Sure.
Okay. And this was included in my opening statement and testimony. So I'll give you an abbreviated version of that. But I'm going to ask for two exhibits to be admitted into evidence. Exhibit 1B, 1 Bravo, and 1L, 1 Lima. Those are before and after satellite images. After the DeWoody encampment was put into place. When the case was initially responded to, it included a squatting complaint from a nearby property. The allegation was an encampment, which we can see now in Exhibit 1L from July 2024 aerial imagery. An encampment was put in place belonging to Dana and Mr. DeWoody and their extended family that actually expanded across 4 parcels, only one of which they had an illegal claim to. The one parcel that was alleged they had legal claim to was the 3041 Winter Street address. At that time, Mr. DeWoody did not own that parcel. That parcel was owned by Ace Land Investments, who was financing, allegedly again, the occupancy or the use of that parcel by Dana and Mr. DeWoody. We, in our July 2022 initial investigation, had spoken with Ace Land Investments, August 2022, had spoken with Ace Land Investments, who confirmed that Dana was the individual being financed, who was occupying that 3041 Winter Street property. Fast forward till 2024, and in 2024, Mr. DeWoody took control of the 3041 Winter Street address, and also took control of, seen in Exhibit 1L, the parcel immediately northwest of that. And that is a page address. Let me pull that up real quick. But Mr. DeWoody took control of that from a Mary Brown. We had notified Mary Brown that her parcel was in violation of the county's zoning ordinance as well. Mary Brown had contacted us, stated she had no knowledge of it, but had initiated a land swap with Mr. DeWoody so he could take control of that parcel. And she would no longer be subject to the county's violation. So Mr. DeWoody, as of several months ago, took control of that parcel as well. Now, he does not control, to our knowledge, the parcel with the RV on it that he referred to in Exhibit 2F. That is correct. He does not own that parcel. But that RV is part of the occupied RV encampment that is visible in Exhibit 1L and is alleged to be extended family. That individual may be squatting on that parcel. The refuse and other items that are on the parcel to the immediate north and are also part of the encampment seen in 1L does not belong to Mr. DeWoody either, to our knowledge. But again, the refuse and other items extend onto that. So it is certainly correct that he does not own that parcel. However, that is part of the violations created pursuant to the county's case against 3041 Winter Street. Does that make sense?
I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
So just looking at 1L, see if I can zoom in a little bit here. Unfortunately, I can't quite see the numbers, but the almost triangular shaped parcel to the south with the one RV on it is not Mr. DeWoody's parcel.
Not to our knowledge, that's correct.
But you're saying that the RV that's on it is part of the family encampment?
That is correct, and it is placed in violation of the county zoning ordinances. However, we'd like to hold Mr. DeWoody accountable for that as opposed to the parcel owner, because we believe that is pursuant to the violations caused by Mr. DeWoody on 3041 Winter Street and the adjacent parcel that we also named or would have named in our testimony.
Okay. And then the kind of rectangular shaped property just north of the triangular shaped property is under Mr. DeWoody's control?
No, the one to the immediate northwest. So adjoining to the northwest. There are two adjoining to the north, and the western or leftmost one is now under the control of Mr. DeWoody. That was the one I referenced before that was previously under the control of an individual named Mary Brown. The address for that property is 4123 Page Drive.
Well, no, I'm talking about the one that's, if there's four, there seems to be four parcels with stuff on them.
Certainly, sir. I will share my screen and I will pull up a map so I can better represent what I'm talking about, if that's easier for you.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, so 8, the parcel ending 102.
So the parcel ending 102, that is not under the control of Mr. DeWoody. That is under the control of Dana Metcalf, who is occupying Mr. DeWoody's parcels, is alleged to be Mr. DeWoody's partner.
Okay, so hold on, Mr. Sendo. So 102, Dana Metcalf, they're based on 1L, there's an RV on that one that you're saying is part of the family encampment.
That is correct. Now it does not belong to Mr. DeWoody, but it does belong to Dana Metcalf, Mr. DeWoody's alleged partner.
And then moving northwest to parcel 100.
And 100 is the subject parcel, the one cited for today's hearing, and the principal parcel or the centralmost parcel for this encampment, which was why we chose to pursue citation on that parcel specifically.
Okay. And then moving northwest again to 097, that's the Mary Brown parcel. Formerly
Mary Brown, now owned by Mr. DeWoody. This currently houses, again, as it's viewable in Exhibit 1 Lima, 2 RVs, one of which Dana has exited when we've spoken to her, and another which houses an elderly woman who is a member of the family. This
Okay.
parcel to the north, which some of that refuse extends upon, is owned by an unknown third party named Kelly Brent, who is not subject to action by the county at this time.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Mr. DeWoody, did you hear all that?
I did.
So what you were saying that one RV was not on your property, it's actually on a property to the south of yours owned by Dana.
Correct.
Who owns the RV itself that's on Dana's property?
Her son.
Okay. Okay. And so, Mr. DeWoody, your properties are the ones ending 100 and 097, which you acquired from Mary Brown. Is that right?
Correct. Because I was remedying the fact that I was over the property line, and we wanted to obtain that property, to begin with, but we could get a hold of the person that had owned the property. Again, that was the reason why we had moved over, is because of our neighbor being harassing us and stuff like that. So I was just trying to be, accommodate unhappy people, I guess. I don't know, but we ended up being over the property line, and but Mary Brown came to us, and we discussed on switching properties so that I wouldn't have to move all my stuff off the property, because it was just going to be a lot of work for me at the time to try and remedy that situation. So we went ahead and we obtained that property.
Gotcha. Okay. Mr. Stento, what's the county looking for here?
So the county is not looking for any fines today. The county requested all the violations noted on the citations, so the unlawful RV occupancy and the secondhand materials, inoperable vehicles, are not fully abated within 30 days of the hearing date, which would be April 5th, 2025. A fine of $1,200 be applied based on the assessment of $20 per day for unlawful use of a recreational vehicle as a dwelling or accessory structure, and $20 per day for unlawful outdoor storage of secondhand materials, refuse, and/or inoperable or unregistered vehicles. And for each day of non-compliance after the proposed 30-day compliance period, an additional $20 per violation per day, as outlined above. The county wishes to waive, again, as I noted, waive any initial fines today. The county requests a recall hearing after April 5th, 2025, at the hearing officer's discretion to determine compliance. And should penalties be assessed and daily penalty balance reach $1,500, the matter should be forwarded to the county attorney's office for further legal action for the county zoning ordinance.
Okay. So, Mr. DeWoody, did you hear what Mr. Stento just said? Mr. DeWoody?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Did you hear what Mr. Stento said?
I heard some of it. It was kind of muffled. It was like staticky when he was talking. Maybe
I'll repeat. I'll summarize for you what he said. Essentially, the county is not looking to impose any fines today. They want to give you an additional 30 days to clean it up, to fix the violations. So that would give you until April 5th to clean up the property and come into compliance. But then if you're not in compliance, we'll have another hearing like we're doing today. So sometime after April 5th. And then the county will be asking for fines, including $1,200 for any violations up to April 5th. And then if they continue to exist after April 5th, $20 per day per violation.
Okay, so am I responsible for that RV then? I'm kind of confused on that. What I'm
So
being,
I'm going to have to think about that a little bit. Right now, sitting here today, I do not think that you're responsible for the RV on um, Dana's property. Okay.
okay.
But I need to look at
Okay.
that issue a little bit more. But you
Okay,
are
yeah.
very much responsible for the violations on the two properties that you control.
I understand, and unfortunately, I don't have those newer exhibits that he had been showing, so I don't know what pictures he had taken. But like I said, that was 2 days ago, and I have been working all day for those 2 days that before that, or after that fact that he came.
Yeah.
Which
Well, that's
I
good.
don't know when he. I don't know when he came, like at what time, because I was here, so it was like he didn't attempt to contact me to see and kind of walk me through and kind of point things that I might be missing or I'm not seeing that what he's seeing, so I can
Okay.
remedy this. Yeah.
Well, that's good that you've been working hard on it, and they're giving you another 30 days to keep working on it. You're saying, hey, you think it's already pretty cleaned up, but you're going to have until April 5th to get it completely cleaned up. And Mr. Stento, would you be willing to talk to Mr. DeWoody in the next 30 days and help him figure out what needs to be done and what's left to be done?
Certainly, and to be clear, we have had numerous conversations with Dana on site over several years, explaining the violations, the county's issues with the property and what was needed for compliance. The county at one point even provided a 1.5 year grace period. And the property actually got worse during that time, despite Dana's attestations to the county that the issues would be cleaned up.
So, Mr. DeWoody, it sounds like the county's given lots of opportunities over the years, so they're giving you 30 more days before they start looking for money, fines, and
Right.
penalties. So work with Mr. Stento over the next 30 days. He'll communicate with you if you've got questions about compliance, and just get those two parcels cleaned up. And I would also encourage you, Mr. DeWoody, if Dana is your partner, encourage her to deal with that RV that's to the south of you. Okay,
That's correct.
because
I
I
will.
don't, although I'm saying right now I don't think that you're responsible for that. I have to look at it a little bit, but I would informally encourage you to encourage Dana to deal with it, because otherwise we're going to be back here with Dana pretty soon.
Right.
Okay, just get
Um,
the area cleaned up, come into compliance.
Yes, Your Honor. So I didn't quite hear what he was saying about our living situation. I mean, I don't know what he was implying about our living situation. Like, I can't live in my RV.
Mr. Stento, do you want to address that?
I will, certainly. So, the Mr. DeWoody's properties are zoned agricultural residential. It's a type of single-family residential zoning. The permissible use of an RV or occupancy of an RV can be achieved in one of two ways on an agricultural residential parcel. One is temporarily for 4 months out of the calendar year via a temporary use permit. One RV per parcel is eligible for that 4-month TUP. Again, that is only for 4 months out of the year for one RV on one parcel. It can be renewed by calendar year. The other method for gaining occupancy of an RV on an agricultural residential parcel is a conditional use permit. A conditional use permit requires a hearing and an application process through the county, but if approved, and approval is based on the Planning and Zoning Commission's review and approval, if approved, will grant permanent occupancy with stipulations of an RV on an agricultural residential parcel. Recreational vehicles, travel trailers, and fifth wheels, tiny homes on wheels are not permitted by right on agricultural residential parcels as residences. So, no permits have been issued to these properties or these parcels. One RV per parcel, could be permitted and used as a dwelling. Now, to Mr. DeWoody's point, we have many problems with this in the area, and we will allow a generous time frame for him to achieve compliance in this regard if we have one RV per parcel and we have a substantively cleaned up area or properties in this case.
Okay.
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Stento, is the CUP also one RV per parcel?
That's correct. It is one
Okay.
RV per parcel.
So, Mr. DeWoody, and we're kind of off track from what our hearing is about today, but that's okay. We can try to address some of these issues. Mr. DeWoody, what Mr. Stento is basically saying is that given the zoning out there, you might be permitted to have one RV per parcel that you can inhabit. There's two ways to do that. One, you can apply for a temporary use permit that would allow you to live in that RV 4 months out of the calendar year. Or you can apply for a conditional use permit, which, if granted, would allow you to have permanent occupancy of one RV per parcel. But in order to get either of those, you've got to show overall compliance with the zoning ordinance. So you got to clean up the property and then apply for your permit to live in an RV. Okay.
Understood.
Yeah. And those are what Mr. Stento is saying. People don't necessarily have a right to occupy an RV on a parcel out there. You have to actually apply for it and go through the application process and then maybe be granted permission.
Understood.
But you got a better chance of being granted permission if they look at your overall parcel and say, yeah, all other aspects of the parcel are in compliance, it's cleaned up, they're cooperative, and then you've got a better chance of having that permit granted.
Okay.
All right, does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm gonna issue a written order, and I'll have that out in the next day or two.
Okay.
And what my order is going to say is you've got 30 days until April 5th to get the property cleaned up. And if it's not cleaned up by then, we're going to have another hearing, and then monetary fines will start to build up.
Okay.
Okay. I have not yet decided what to do about the RV on Dana's property. I'll figure that out, and it'll be part of my written order.
Okay. Yeah, she is actually here with me, so.
Okay, good. Well, then she probably heard me on my soapbox saying, even if I don't order it, I'm strongly encouraging you to get that dealt with.
Okay. Understood.
Mr. Brown, if I can interject.
Sure.
The county is fine, and we didn't ask for exhibits to be admitted into evidence. While we did send them to Mr. DeWoody, it sounds like Mr. DeWoody's dog ate the exhibits, if I'm understanding that correctly. But we are fine with Exhibit 2F not being considered when reviewing compliance in this case by the hearing officer. There are numerous other occupied RVs on Mr. DeWoody's property. The intent of the inclusion of Exhibit 2F was to show the extent of the encampment at the property and that it extended beyond Mr. DeWoody's properties. But when considering adjudicating this hearing, we are fine with that being stricken from the record. If such a thing can be done.
I appreciate that. And I'm going to go ahead and admit all the exhibits except 2F. So, Mr. DeWoody, that means I'm going to consider all of the exhibits that Mr. Stento presented except for 2F. And just so you know, 2F is the RV that's on Dana's property.
Correct.
Okay. So it's not that I'm ignoring the reality of that being there, but I'm just not going to consider that particular picture.
Understood.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else, Mr. Stento?
No. Thank you, sir.
Anything else, Mr. DeWoody?
Just, Mr. Stento, I really appreciate to have you come out and walk me through what you would like to see me focus on, and remedy these situations. And I really would appreciate that.
Mr. DeWitty, I think we can schedule a site visit next week. We will, when Mr. Brown issues an order pursuant to this hearing, we will send it to you via certified mail for procedure, but I will also attempt to give you a copy personally, visit you next week and have a discussion with you.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you could certainly have Mr. Cole do that. That'd be up to you, Mr. Stenta.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Mr. DeWitty, thank you for calling in, and my written order will be coming out in the next day or two.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, everyone, have a great and safe day.
You too, Mr. Brown. Have a good day.
Thank you.